Many times in life, we look at others and wonder, why can't I be like them? This kind of thinking often brings sadness. In today's busy world, with apps like TikTok and Instagram all around us, comparing ourselves to others has become very common. This story is for those who feel their lives are not good enough and think others are living better or happier lives. So please listen to this story until the end. One day, a crow was flying through the sky and came to rest on a tree branch. While sitting there, he noticed a swan swimming gracefully in a nearby pond. The swan had bright white feathers, and some villagers were standing nearby, admiring how beautiful it looked. The crow became interested and flew closer to get a better look at the swan. But the moment the villagers saw him, they waved their arms to drive him away. The crow thought to himself, maybe they're worried I'll dirty the place. Feeling unwanted, the crow moved to another branch. But once again, the people didn't want him there and chased him away. This made the crow feel even worse. He watched how everyone admired the swan because of its white feathers, but nobody liked him. With a heavy heart, the crow left the village and flew far away into the deep forest. He sat quietly on a tree and began to cry. He whispered to himself, people dislike me just because my feathers are black. If only I had feathers like the swan, I would be happy too. Just then, an old crow flying by saw him and stopped. The old crow asked gently, why do you look so sad, young one? The young crow replied, I hate how I look. My black feathers are ugly. Nobody wants me around. The old crow listened and gave a gentle smile. He asked, if you could become any bird in the world, which one would you choose to be? Without thinking, the young crow answered, I would become a swan. Everyone likes the swan. People smile when they see it and say how pretty it looks. The old crow nodded and said, there is a magical spring deep in the forest. If you take a bath there with a clean and honest heart, it can change the way you look. But, he continued, before you go, why don't you ask the swan if it's truly happy with its life? The young crow thought for a moment and agreed. He thanked the old crow and flew back to the pond near the village. When he found the swan, he flew down and said politely, dear swan, you must be the happiest bird in the village. Your feathers are so white and lovely, and everyone seems to love you. The swan looked down and replied, thank you for saying that. My feathers may look nice, but I'm not happy. People keep me in their ponds or gardens like a decoration. I'm not free to fly wherever I want. She paused and added, when I get old, some might even use me for food. I'm always worried about what will happen to me. The crow was surprised to hear this. He had always thought the swan had a perfect life. He asked, then, who do you think is the happiest bird? The swan thought for a while and then said, I believe the parrot is the happiest. Its feathers are even more beautiful and colorful than mine. Also, people don't eat parrots. The crow thanked the swan for speaking honestly and flew off to find a parrot. The crow flew through the forest for a while until he saw a parrot sitting on a branch of a tall tree. Its feathers were bright green, red, and yellow. The crow flew closer and said, dear parrot, your feathers are so bright and beautiful. People must love you a lot. You must be the happiest bird. The parrot looked at the crow and gave a small, sad smile. My feathers do look nice, he said. But they bring me trouble too. People catch me because of how I look. They keep me locked in cages, away from the trees and sky. I spend most of my life behind bars, unable to fly freely. The crow felt even more confused and said, oh, I didn't know that. If you're not happy, then who do you think is the happiest bird? The parrot thought for a moment and said, maybe the peacock is the happiest. His feathers are even more colorful and beautiful than mine. People come from far away just to see him, and they give him a big place to live in. The crow nodded slowly, thanked the parrot and set off again, this time to a zoo where he had heard a peacock lived. When he reached the zoo, he saw a crowd gathered around a peacock. The peacock was dancing, spreading his giant colorful feathers. Everyone was taking photos and praising how amazing he looked. The crow flew down and said, dear peacock, your feathers are the most beautiful I've ever seen. People are amazed by you. You must be the happiest bird in the world." The peacock looked at him and said gently, "It's kind of you to say that, but no, I'm not really happy. People love my feathers so much that they pull them out to sell. It hurts every time they do it. And I live in this cage. I can't fly freely like you." The crow stood still, shocked. He had never thought that the birds he admired so much were also unhappy. The crow stood there, thinking deeply about what the peacock had just said. All this time he had envied the swan, the parrot, and the peacock. He had believed that they had perfect lives. But now he understood that every bird had its own struggles and sadness. The peacock, despite his beauty, was trapped in a cage. The parrot, with his colorful feathers, was also locked away. And the swan, despite her elegant white feathers, couldn't fly freely like the crow. The crow realized something very important. He was free. No one chased him away because of his feathers. He could fly wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted, without anyone telling him where to go or what to do. The crow felt a wave of gratitude for his own life. He was thankful for his black feathers and his freedom. He could soar through the skies and explore the world. He didn't need to be like anyone else to be happy. He flew back to the old crow who had given him advice earlier. The young crow landed next to the wise crow and said, "I don't want to be anyone else anymore. I'm happy just being a crow." The old crow smiled warmly and said, "I'm glad you understand now. We all have our own struggles. Comparing yourself to others will only make you unhappy. True happiness comes when you accept yourself and appreciate what you have." The young crow looked at the sky, opened his wings wide, and felt the wind against his feathers. He felt peaceful, knowing he didn't need to be anyone else to be happy. This story reminds us that everyone faces their own challenges, no matter how perfect they may seem. Comparing yourself to others only takes away your happiness. Instead, learn to be grateful for who you are. You are unique, and there is no one else who can be a better version of you. Once upon a time, in a small town at the foot of a big, green hill, there lived a young man named Lucas. Unlike the other young men in town, who spent their days working hard on farms or doing various jobs, Lucas preferred to relax under the big tree behind his house. Deep inside, he knew that his laziness was ruining his future, but every time he tried to do something about it, he found himself falling back into the same habit. One day, something happened that changed Lucas's life forever. The girl he loved the most married a rich man. This event hit Lucas hard, and soon, the people in town began to make fun of him. They said it was his laziness that had caused him to fail. Feeling embarrassed and heartbroken, Lucas decided that he needed to change his ways. But where should he start? As Lucas sat near the hill, feeling lost, he noticed an old man walking along the path. It was Grandpa Henry, a wise elder who everyone in town respected for his advice and knowledge. Lucas ran over to him and said, "Grandpa, I can't seem to get rid of my laziness. Please help me. I don't want to live like this anymore." Grandpa Henry smiled gently and replied, "Those who try, succeed. I'm glad you want to change. Come to my house in 3 days. Bring some food for the journey, and I'll show you how to defeat your laziness. You'll have to go far, so prepare yourself well." Lucas felt a surge of hope. He agreed and rushed home to prepare. For the next 3 days, he eagerly waited for the day to come. On the third day, Lucas packed his bag with food, money, and some other essentials, then set off to Grandpa Henry's house. When he arrived, Grandpa Henry pointed toward a distant mountain and said, "The cure for your laziness lies in a cave on the other side of that mountain. It will take you 3 to 5 days to get there. Inside the cave, you will find a pot with 2 pills, one red and one blue. Bring them back to me, and I will show you how they will help you overcome your laziness." "But there's something else you need to know," Grandpa Henry continued. "Another young man, wearing a green cloak, left yesterday to find the same cure. If you want it, you must get to the cave before him." With a determined heart, Lucas began his journey. He crossed the town and came to a wide river. There, he saw an old man rowing a small boat across the river, moving slowly. Lucas, feeling impatient, grabbed the oars and rowed the boat with all his strength. He crossed the river in just 20 minutes, instead of the usual hour. Without realizing it, Lucas was already changing. His laziness was fading away as he became more focused and determined. He ran, climbed, and pushed through each challenge even when he felt tired. One thought echoed in his mind. There's no substitute for hard work. After 2 days of traveling hard, Lucas finally reached the cave. Inside the cave, Lucas found a pot just like Grandpa Henry had described. The pot held 2 pills, one red and one blue. Feeling proud of himself for completing the long journey, Lucas carefully picked up the pot and began to head back to town. As he walked back, Lucas couldn't wait to show Grandpa Henry what he had found. When he arrived at Grandpa Henry's house, he handed over the pot and said eagerly, "Grandpa, I found the pills. How will these help me beat my laziness?" To Lucas's surprise, Grandpa Henry smiled and took one of the pills for himself. He swallowed it quickly, without any hesitation. Lucas was shocked and asked angrily, "Why did you take one of the pills? I thought they were for me." Grandpa Henry chuckled and said, "The pill I took was for my back pain, but the real cure for your laziness is something you've already found. During your journey, you worked hard, stayed focused, and pushed through every challenge." He continued, "The red pill represents your big dreams. The blue pill stands for the determination to keep going. You've shown that with a clear goal and hard work, nothing is impossible." Lucas paused, thinking about Grandpa Henry's words. It was true, he had conquered his laziness simply by taking action. After a moment, Lucas asked, "But what about the young man in the green cloak? Did he reach the cave before me?" Grandpa Henry laughed and said, "That young man was my son. He went to visit his brother in the next village. I mentioned him to make you act faster." Lucas felt a bit annoyed but couldn't help smiling. He thanked Grandpa Henry for his wisdom and left with a new sense of energy. From that moment on, Lucas was no longer the lazy young man he once was. He embraced hard work and took on new challenges with a renewed sense of purpose. His life slowly started to change as he worked tirelessly, day by day, to improve himself. People in the village began to notice the transformation in him. He became a successful and respected man, known for his determination and strong work ethic. Lucas learned that every moment in life was valuable. The tasks he once put off were now the key to his success. He realized that his future depended on the small steps he took every day and the dreams he worked hard to achieve. Lucas never forgot the lesson he learned on his journey. Success comes to those who chase their dreams with persistence and dedication. There is no shortcut to success, only hard work and determination. And so, Lucas became a living example of how focusing on goals and putting in the effort could change your life for the better. From that day on, he worked hard and was thankful for every opportunity that came his way. He understood that the only way to reach success was through perseverance. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy our motivational stories, please comment on what you learned, and do not forget to like and share. Till next time, bye.